very good morning to you. I am Koketso Mapua. I am also known as the Pageant Boss Babe. Welcome back to my channel. If you are joining me for the very first time on this channel, we talk everything business, especially aligned to pageant business. We also include some elements of my life, what I get up to as a wife and as a mom of four. Yes, I am. So welcome to my channel, and I hope that you will enjoy your stay. Today I'm going to be talking about how to become a Pageant Boss Babes Part 2. For those of you that remember, I did post up a video last week or the week before last where I was talking about what it takes to formalize your pageant business. I wish to express that the information I will be sharing here is not only valuable to pageant boss babes looking to start their pageant business. However, it is valuable and relevant to any aspiring entrepreneur. So I hope you will find this worthy. Now, before we get into it, please do remember to subscribe and also hit that notification bell so you get an update each and every single time that I post. And don't forget to give this a like. So this can be recommended, this video can be recommended to other aspiring entrepreneurs such as yourself. Now, let's get into the business of today. So I've made some notes here to ensure that I don't leave out any valuable information. But as I did already say, today we will be discussing the different types of companies that you can register in South Africa, and also how to register those companies, right? Or how to register your company. So the types of companies that we have, right? You get a private company, you get a public company, you get a not-for-profit company, and you also get a state-owned company, right? An SOE, and a personal liability company. So those are the 5 different types of companies that you can register in South Africa. I must mention that there are also closed corporations. I'm sure most of you have heard the term that a company is a closed corporation. Now that was closed off, so meaning you can't register a closed corporation anymore. But if you had already registered a closed corporation previously, prior to them discontinuing the ability to register, you can still continue operating under a closed corporation. So we will not be touching on that because this is also for aspiring boss babes that want to go into business. So it's not relevant for today. So I'm first going to start off by reviewing a private company. And we as Miss and Mrs. Township South Africa Holdings are registered as a private company. And how you would normally identify that is that at the end of the name, you'll normally find PTY Ltd. That stands for Proprietary Limited. Then you know that that company is registered as a private company. So with a private company, it exists outside of its members, meaning that it is a separate legal entity, right? And it can also have its own number, its own tax number. Now it's adaptable whether it's a big business or it's a small business. Any which one of those can be registered as a private company, and it must have at least one shareholder, and the number of shareholders that can be part of it are limited. So in other words, you can be the sole director of a private company. You don't need to go into partnership with anybody to register your private company as a legal operating business. The shareholders are generally not responsible for the liabilities of a company, which is great because what that means is that should the company get into trouble, right, you are not responsible for paying off its debt. So you are protected in that respect. So because it exists as a separate legal entity. That is that for a private company. And then there is a public company, which is a juristic person that exists separately from its owners and shareholders. It is similar, right, to a private company. However, the shareholders have got limited liability. and there must be at least 3 directors and at least 7 shareholders. Unlike a private company where you can be alone in the company, with a public company, there must be at least 3 directors and 7 shareholders. And it's only public companies that can be registered on the JSE. And then the suffix, so the suffix is the end of the sentence, would generally be Ltd. Remember, with a private company, it was Pty Ltd. With a public company, it is just Ltd Limited. So those are the fundamental differences between a private company and a public company, and these are the characteristics of a public company. Moving on up, I'm going to touch on a personal liability company, right? A personal liability company is a private company that trades for profit, and it's generally used by professionals such as lawyers, such as engineers, stockbrokers, and the suffix would generally have incorporated. So instead of having Pty Ltd or just Ltd, it would then have incorporated. That's how you would be able to identify a public liability company. And it also operates on the basis of personal liability, which is the difference, right? So that means that the directors are jointly and severally liable with the company for its contractual debt. So if you have a public liability company, unlike a private company which has no liability, right, which means that the shareholders are not responsible for any of its debt, and with a public company that's got limited liability, a public liability company, you are responsible for the debt that the company incurs. So meaning that if the company cannot pay its debt, then the creditors can come after your personal goods and your personal property, right, to be able to cover the debt of a company, of a personal liability company. We then have a non-profit company, which is incorporated obviously for public benefit, right? And it must have at least 3 incorporators and 3 directors, and can register without any members. So members are not directors, they're not shareholders or incorporators, right? The members are the people that would join. So for example, if you are a member of an association, association 9 times out of 10 is registered as a not-for-profit company, right? And it's got its own directors, it's got its own incorporators, but the members are then the people that benefit then from this, but it can operate without members. So for example, I've got a non-profit organization, which we will discuss in the coming few weeks, that is registered with social development. It is for public benefit. However, we do not have members, right? We can still operate under the registration, the MPO registration, even though we do not have members. In the future, we probably would have members, but that would not nullify the existence of the corporation or the organization if we choose to not continue without any members. So that is what's meant by this. And please do post your questions in the comment section, because I don't know how much I'm leaving out, how much of this you understand, how much of this makes sense or doesn't make sense. So I would really appreciate comments in the comment section so that I'm able to make this information as valuable as possible for you. That is why this channel exists. This is what this information is all about, to ensure that you have the information that you do need. And then state-owned companies. These are legal entities that are created and governed by the government to undertake commercial activities on behalf of the government. That is my daughter in the background that you are hearing. I am a mom, and it is a Sunday, so please do excuse the noise that you might hear. So there you have it, boss babes. Those are the 5 different types of companies that you can register in South Africa. So now I'm going to go into how to register, right? We know the different kinds of companies that we have, and we know why they exist, how they exist, and what they offer. So at this point, you should be able to point out or to be able to think to yourself which company would be best suited for the goods or services that you wish to offer. So now I'm going to move into how to register a company. What you basically need to register a company and where you can go to register one. So in South Africa, if you want to register a company, you can register with the CIPC, which stands for Companies and Intellectual Properties Commission. It's based at the DTI campus in Pretoria, and you can either go there in person or you can pay a company that can register on your behalf. There are companies that do that that is their business. They help other companies to be registered. They help people to register companies. Or you can register online on the CIPC website, which is what we are going to touch on today, because I believe in ease. I believe in convenience. I don't like queues, and I'm sure you don't as well. It's a time waster. But, unless, of course, you want to go there in person, that is your personal choice. But I'm not going to touch on that today. I'm just going to touch on how you can register online, which has been made really easy. I've done it myself. I've done it for a couple of my businesses. I will touch in time what other businesses I do have. So yes, I do run Miss and Mrs. Township South Africa Holdings Pty Ltd, but that's not the only company that I've got registered. And like I said, I have done this online, and this process is fairly easy, and it's actually inexpensive compared to what you would pay if you were getting another company to register for you. So in the past, I have done this before, where I've registered with other companies. For those of you that don't know, this was not my first time trying business. I think in my first video, I did mention that I've always been entrepreneurial, and I've tried my hand at business a couple of times. And so this is not my first time. I've paid companies before to register for me, and that was back then. I paid over 1,000 rands. I think the first one was 700 and something, and then the last one I did with companies that help you to register, I paid well over 1,000 rands. But no, we're not going to do that, and that is why I'm also giving you this information, not trying to put them out of business, but also trying to help you maximize your rand. So that is why I'm doing this, because there are people that genuinely don't know how to go about registering their own companies. So before I get into it, I just wish to reiterate once more that we all have smartphones, or at least majority of us nowadays. I want to challenge you to using your smartphone to actually getting information, and not just swiping the whole time looking at what was happening and who's dressed in what and gossip and whatever else, where you actually don't gain any information. Look, it is good to relax and just to suss out the internet for the sake of sussing it out. But I wish to challenge you to start using your phone to gain information. There is so much information that is available out there. Even this information, it's freely available on the internet. You've got your smartphone, the best thing discovered since sliced bread, I would say. And use it to your advantage. Don't just use it to fool around. Use your data to equip yourself with information. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right into it. To get started, you would go to the CIPC eServices website portal, which is reflected here on the screen. You can visit that website, and that is where you'll be able to register your company. You would then, the first thing you would do is you need to register your account. So you then have an account in your name. So myself as Koketso, I've got my own account with the CIPC that every time I wish to register, I would then log in under that account. So you'll see on the side there, it would have login details, at this point, I'm assuming that you do not have your login details. You then would then need to register your account from scratch. Put your login details in a safe space so that if you do forget them, you can access them again, and you don't have to struggle logging in. I once registered and then I misplaced my login details and I was able to reset them. So if you do lose them, don't stress. There is a way you are able to recover those login details for you to be able to access your account on the CIPC website. So to register your account, by the way, you need your ID number and your personal information. That's what you need to open up an account. And then once you are allocated an account, you then need to deposit money in accordance to how much you would require for the processes that you would undertake, right, to register your company or whatever it is that you need to, the operations that you need to perform on their website. Now, before you can register your company, you would then need to first reserve a name. The reason for that is there are billions of companies that exist in South Africa alone. So for you to be able to register, the CIPC needs to go through its database and ensure that the company that you are registering is not in conflict with a company that's already registered that name. So you then would be asked to submit, I think it's about 5 names, if I'm not mistaken, that you would be asked to submit. And then those names then, in order of preference, I must mention that it would be in order of preference. So if your first name is not available, it would then scan to your second name, your third name, up until it finds a name that's available. Then that would be your company. Your company would then be registered as that name. My advice is that don't just put in any names just to fill in the blanks, because as I said, if the first one does not register, then that means that the next name in line would then be registered, which then would mean that that is the name that your company, your organization would be registered in. If it's a name you're not proud of, it's obviously a problem, because this is something long term. So make sure that you take your time in coming up with a name before you put it down on paper. So to reserve your name, you would go under the name reservations dashboard, which is pretty easy. Remember, I just need to point this out. Even if you register a name and then later on you think that, or you feel that this is not a name you actually want, you really, really wanted it then, but you don't want it anymore, it is possible at a later stage to go back and change the name again. So I've actually once bought a shelf company with the Shelf Company of South Africa. And what a shelf company is, it's a company that already existed, right? That is no longer in use. So I bought it and then I changed the name later on. So it is possible for you to register a name now and then also change it. But to avoid all of that, I would advise register a name that you know will go long term. But things do happen, right? Yes. So to reserve a name, you will receive a document that is titled capital letter COR 9.4 that would confirm your name reservation. The name that you have reserved would then be confirmed on that COR 9.4 document. Once that is done, you then need to consider the type of company you're going to register. We've already discussed at the beginning of this video the types of companies you can register in South Africa. You would then go back to that information and decide on the type of company that you are then going to register for yourself, under which your company would then operate as. Now on to registering your company. Registration costs around 125 rands, so you would need to have that in your credit. And I don't think I mentioned how much it costs to reserve a name. That costs around 50 rands. So in total, you'll need about 175 rands to reserve a name and to complete your registration, which is quite a bargain compared to how much you would have paid for a company that can register a company on your behalf. So, and it's quite a quick and easy process, which, only costs you 175 rands. And to get back to registering your company, you would find that under company registrations on the CIPC website portal. And what you would then also need is the tracking number that you received when you were reserving your name. And some of the information that you will be asked to enter when you are registering your company would be your contact information, your personal information, and if there's other directors, obviously you would then need their details too that I've just mentioned, and then the details of the business. That is your company's financial year end, that is the shares that are issued, and if you've got more than one director, also the share allocation as well. Once you have completed all this information, you would then receive a COR 15.18 document, which you, along with the other directors, obviously if you're alone, you can sign this on your own, but if there's other directors, you and the other directors would then need to sign this document along with other documents to complete your registration. This would be a signed name reservation confirmation letter, a signed 15.18 document that I've just mentioned, and then certified copy of your ID. If again you've got other directors that you're going into business with, they would then need to also submit their certified ID copies. Once you've submitted all these documents, you then wait for the CIPC to send you an email where you will then receive your company registration details. And my experience is that it's done immediately. I think they give a waiting period just, for their own safety, or where there are maybe discrepancies or backlog or whatever. But the general waiting time they give you is 1 to 3 days. It's quite efficient, guys. I've used this process myself and it's so easy. It's very, very easy. Please do give your feedback should you use this process, and let me know how long it took you, how easy it was, and basically how it went for you. But the document then you would then receive, the registration documents that you would receive is known as a COR in capital letters 14.3 documents. And obviously also a memorandum of incorporation. You would then need to store these documents in a very safe place, because this is similar to your ID book. This is the ID book for companies, right? So you need to put them in a safe place where you can access them without any trouble. What I do personally is I use Google Drive. My team can attest to that. We work a lot with Google Drive because you can access it in real time, irrespective of where you are. So I store them on Google Drive, and I also print them out and keep a hard copy on in a file somewhere where I know I can access it and it's also safe. So keep these documents safe, but also where you can access them very easily. As I did mention, this is like your company's ID book. So wherever you need to operate, you would need to showcase these documents. So these are also the same documents that you would then need to use to apply for your bank account, your tax number. Remember, I did say that your company is an independent legal body. So you do need to apply for tax number within 7 days with SARS. Now, the upside of registering with another company is they give you an option of doing this for you free of charge. Then it's easily done, but we'll touch on getting your tax number also with SARS on the next video. So keep these documents safe. I can't stress this enough. These are like the ID documentation for your business. So basically, to recap on what we've touched on, how to register your business. We've got 5 different types of companies that you can register legally in South Africa. And also the process of registration, it includes you reserving a name on the CIPC website, which is again reflected here at the bottom of your screen. And then once you have successfully reserved a name, you would then go on to register your business, and the total cost thereof is 175 brands. I hope you have found this information very valuable. I hope you are able to use it. And again, do give me your feedback if this was informative or not. What else you wish for me to touch on in your journey of becoming your own boss babe. Remember, this information is not limited to a pageant business, but it's also open to any other business that you wish to register. Do give me your feedback, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up so that it also appears and is recommended to other potential boss babes such as yourself. And do remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you are notified every single time I post a video. Thank you so much for watching. Do remember to share with your network. Yours truly, the Pageant Boss Babe. Hey Royal Family, I'm sure you have noticed my lashes. These gorgeous lashes were sponsored by Final Touches Lashes by Karabo. This is what the packaging looks like, and this is who they are. I love these lashes, and I wanted to encourage you to follow them on Instagram, which their Instagram details are appearing here at the bottom of the screen. This is what the box looks like. This is what these lashes came in. It's very hard as well, so it won't easily get damaged. Also, the packaging this was in was also very hard, and it also had bubble wrap around it to ensure that you get your lashes looking as they were sent. So thank you so much, Final Touches, for these beautiful lashes. I feel like a real pageant boss babe today.